Hello, family. Hello. Salam. Peace and love. Peace and love. Welcome to Sankofa Video, Books, and Cafe. Founded by Shrikiana and Haile Garima and named after the internationally acclaimed film Sankofa that they produced, Sankofa is a liberated territory that empowers thoughtful resistance against the forces that seek to oppress our bodies and minds through books, films, and programming generated by and about people of African descent. Tonight, we are here to experience a fundraising screening of a documentary film in progress, Begenaye, a film by Jerusalem and Melchizedek. I'm Jordan Strudwick. I'm grateful to call Melchizedek and Jerusalem friends, and I'm really honored that they asked me to help MC tonight's gathering. In 2018, Jerusalem purchased her first Begena with the intention of learning how to play. Once it arrived in Washington, D.C., she immediately set out on a search for an instructor on the internet or locally around Washington, D.C. To her and Melchizedek's surprise, not only were they unable to find instructions for beginners, but they couldn't even get proper guidance on how to tune the instrument. Characteristically undeterred, Jerusalem started practicing at home by following young Begena players she eventually found on the internet, and Melchizedek began to film her progress. In time, they started to uncover a thin thread to the Begena's ancient wisdom that its devotional players have made their life's purpose to master. By early 2023, having exhausted most of what they could find on the internet, they decided to fly to Ethiopia on their own dime on a mission to conduct more in-depth research on the ground and possibly meet two young players whose enthusiasm and devotion to the instrument made them understand the depth and mystery of this tradition. What they found were a few thriving young devotees of the Begena who passionately searched for answers to their very questions and beyond, within manuscripts, audiovisual recordings, paintings, folklore, as well as through their own personal relationship with the instrument. They managed to set up meetings with the two players that they had been following on the internet, who led them to a third player. These three players became the protagonists of a documentary that was starting to take shape in their minds. They were able to produce over 15 hours of compelling interviews and live performances. They began to realize that studying the Begena is a way to peer back through time at the great poets, philosophers, musicians, and mystics of Ethiopia, whose lament is still heard through the strings of the instrument. By the time they returned to DC, they were filled with more questions than they had answers. They knew they would need to return to Ethiopia again in order to complete their research and their film. That's where we come in, and that's why this is not just a screening, but a fundraiser. The two individuals who we're all here to support today could not be more deserving of our support. Melchizedek, who many of us know as Gazal, and Jerusalem make everything that they touch better. It's in their shared nature to constantly make a difference in the lives of the people around them. They're at the heart of the work that happens in this place, Sankofa. I once heard Mama Shrikiana say that she's not sure Sankofa would still be here without Gazal. Jerusalem and Melchizedek give so much and so brilliantly, and the film we're about to receive is a taste of yet another example of their giving. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who knows them that they've selected such a beautiful, unselfish, and purposeful subject for their first collaborative film. This film is a gift to their people, but we're not just here to enjoy what they've created so far. This fundraiser is an opportunity for the community that they have served so tirelessly to both celebrate their hard work and to empower them to do more. The beneficiary of the donations made to get their film over the finish line isn't really them so much as they do deserve it. It's the current and future generations of Begena players who will be inspired and encouraged by their work. It's the people who will be uplifted by their deeper knowledge of this ancient, sacred, powerful, crucially important healing instrument. And it's us who will live in a better world because of the ripples of goodness that flow outward as a result. If we want this kind of work to happen in our communities, we have to do our part of the job to make it happen. We can't wait for anybody else because there is nobody else. Your donations are going to be what gets this film over the finish line. Melchizedek and Jerusalem are doing their job and doing it at an extraordinarily high level. Our job is to give them the fuel to get to the destination. That's why this fundraiser is so important. This is difficult and expensive work. And so far, Melchizedek and Jerusalem have funded the work entirely themselves. We should not ask them to continue to carry that burden when the work is fundamentally for us. Melchizedek and Jerusalem's goal is $30,000 to finish this film. There is no excuse for us not to get in there. Tonight, we invite you to do more than just watch, but to participate in the execution of this work. At the QR code at the bottom left of the screen right there, you can make a donation to the film. You can also watch the trailer for the film there, which is different than what we're going to see this evening. Okay, now I'm going to formally introduce Jerusalem and Melchizedek's film, Begenaye. The long-standing generational transaction that had preserved the Begena tradition for millennia had at one point been threatened with near extinction by modernity, globalization, and the political ideologies of late 20th century Ethiopia. Today, the Begena has become a seasonal instrument in the mind of many Ethiopians, some echo of a distant past on the radio or TV in April during the Lent fasting season that we're in right now. Recently, several new schools have emerged in response to the Begena's near disappearance from public view. Graduates have been marching in impressive numbers on the streets of Addis Ababa and other major religious cities during the religious festivals of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Given its ancientness and the reverence Ethiopians have for the Begena, Melchizedek and Jerusalem were surprised to find very little remaining accessible in written or audiovisual recordings for reference. Nearly all aspects of the instrument, including its origin, construction, playing technique, and philosophy, are shrouded in mystery. Today, only a handful of masters remain alive to bridge the past with the next generation of gifted proteges who have picked up the baton. This is a film about three Begena players in their 20s from Addis as they navigate modern city living while pursuing against all odds their passion to research and master the instrument. The film Begenaye, currently in production, follows three young proteges in their 20s from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, as they navigate modern city life while pursuing their instrument. Tonight's screening will be a rough cut of the first three chapters. This chapter is called Uncovering History. The chapter's protagonist is Mintesenot, a formidable Begena player and recent graduate from a film school in Addis Ababa. Though he's never been able to afford his own Begena, he spends his time and minimal resources traveling all over Ethiopia in search of old manuscripts in remote monasteries and old Begenas that have survived time. He's also been using his filmmaking education to seek out and document elderly Begena players to preserve what little remains for future generations. Without further ado, Begenaye.
የለም ተብሎ መሳሪያው እስከመኖሩ ወይም እስከነምንነቱ ሳይታወቅ እኮ ብዙ ጊዜ አሳልፈናል። በተለይም ከምኒልክ ጊዜ ጀምሮ ማለት ሙርዛ አካባቢ ትንሽ እየተዳከመ ነው። በገነኞቹም ትንሽ ወደ ኋላ እያሉ ሬር እየሆነ መጣ። በጣም ሲታይ የሚያስደንቅ ተአምር እየሆነ መጣ። በእርግጥ ከዛም በፊት የነበረው እንደዛ በቁጥር ትንሽ ናቸው፣ ግን እንዳይጠፋ እኛ መስራት አለብን። ያ ነገር እንደዛ እንዲሆን ያደረገው ትኩረት ለመሰጠቱ ነው። በወቅቱ በገነኞቹም ሊሆኑ ይችላሉ ይሄ ነገር ይፈጠራል ብለው ገምተው ላይሆን ይችላል። እንደዚህ ጠፍቶ በዚህ ልክ እንትን ይሆናል ብለው ገምተው ላይሆን ይችላል። ነገር ግን እግዚአብሔር ደግሞ በየዘመኑ ሰው አያጣም። በጣም ደጋጋ አባቶችን እያስነሳ ብዙ ነገሮችን አድርጓል። ኦልሞስት እኮ የለም ተብሎ መሳሪያው እስከነመኖሩ ወይም እስከነምንነቱ ሳይታወቅ እኮ ብዙ ጊዜ አሳልፈናል እና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን መጋባት በዚህ ቀድ ትልቁን ሚና የሚጫወቱ እሳቸው ናቸው። ከዛ በኋላ መምህር ሲታይ አሁን እኛ ጋር የደረሰው በእሳቸው ምክንያት።
አንዳንድ ጊዜ በሙያም ይወልዱዋል። በተለይ ትልልቆቹ ባለሙያዎች እኛ የነሱ ልጆች ነን ማለት ወልደውናል በሙያ ከኛ ስለሚቀድሙ ማለት ነው። ግን ታላላቆቻችንን እያየናል የመጣን እና በሙያ አባቶቻችን እናቶቻችን ናቸው።